Let's be real. Some sources are just crappy, and your paper, it deserves better. So today we're going to talk about how to spot a good source, avoid academic embarrassment, and build your credibility like the scholarly superhero you were born to be. Your argument could be ironclad, but if it's backed by a blog written by 420 News Guy 88 from 2011, we've got a problem. Weak sources equals weak arguments. Professors know it, and now so do you. Don't let bad research sink your brilliance. Imagine researching something totally foreign to you like rare fungi in Iceland. Fun? Maybe. Efficient? Not even close. Start with something you're already curious about. It'll save you time, boost your confidence, and help you search smarter. You don't need to be an expert, you just need to be curious and a little informed. Before you commit to a topic, poke around. Do a little pre-search, Google it, check Wikipedia, skim a database. Why? Because keywords are everything. If everyone's using terms like systemic bias and you're stuck Googling why people are mean, you're not going to get far. Learn the lingo, then go deeper. Time to meet the squad. CRAAP. Not as gross as it sounds. This is your go-to test for figuring out if a source deserves to be in your paper. It stands for currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. These 5 questions will turn you into a source-sifting ninja. Before you swipe right on that source, ask yourself, is it still relevant? If it's older than your little cousin's last TikTok obsession, it might be outdated. But hold up, don't toss it just yet. Not all good research is brand new. Some sources are what scholars call seminal research, groundbreaking studies, texts, or theories that laid the foundation for future work in a field. These sources are often considered timeless because they're still being cited and built upon years, or even decades, later. Think of them as the Beyoncé of research, classic, influential, and still making an impact. So, what's the takeaway? Don't judge a source by its timestamp alone. Instead, ask, does this topic require the latest information, like tech, medicine, or current events? Or does it benefit from historical context or seminal work that helps explain how we got here? In short, freshness matters, but so does legacy. Use your critical thinking to decide which kind of source best supports your topic. You just found an article that's super fascinating. It's all about the magical healing powers of mushrooms. Cool, right? But pause for a second. Your research topic is about food deserts in urban communities. So, how exactly do mushrooms fit in? This is where relevance comes in. A relevant source is one that directly supports your research question, your argument, or your focus. It doesn't matter how interesting, viral, or well-written it is. If it doesn't connect to your topic in a meaningful way, it's probably not helping your case. To test for relevance, ask yourself, does this source help me answer my research question or build my thesis? Is it the right level? Too basic? Too technical? Just right for your audience? Would my professor nod and say, yes, this supports your argument? Or give you a raised eyebrow and ask, where are you going with this? Is it focused enough? A source that briefly mentions food desserts isn't as helpful as one that analyzes them. Pro tip, even if a source is on topic, make sure it's on point. Tangents are fun in conversation, not in research papers. Yes, education and professional titles can boost credibility, but expertise doesn't guarantee accuracy or fairness. Even highly educated people can be biased, outdated, or just plain wrong. That's why it's important to go beyond the resume and dig a little deeper. Check their affiliations. Are they connected to a university, research center, or advocacy group? Or are they promoting something, like a product or political agenda? Look at how others use and cite their work. Are they referenced by reputable sources? Do they publish in credible journals or respected media outlets? Watch for conflicts of interest. Are they being funded by a group that benefits from their conclusions? That's not necessarily shady, but it's worth noting. No author listed? Red flag. Would you take financial advice from a nameless flyer stapled to a telephone pole? Probably not. Research works the same way. Bottom line, authority is about more than just titles. Look for transparency, credibility, and consistency. And pay attention to the professional company they keep. If their work is respected by other trusted sources, that's a good sign. If they're shouting into the void or only cited by conspiracy blogs, maybe keep scrolling. You found a source that makes some big claims. But before you add it to your paper, hit pause and ask, does this actually hold up? Here's your credibility checklist. Are there wild claims with no evidence? If an article promises shocking revelations but doesn't cite where that info comes from, No links, no experts, no data. That's a major red flag. Typos, broken links, or sketchy ads everywhere. Sloppy presentation often reflects sloppy thinking. Credible sources care about details. Grammar, spelling, and clean formatting are signs of professionalism. Cross-check the facts. A single article isn't gospel. Look at multiple trusted sources to confirm what you've read. If several reliable outlets are reporting the same info, especially with consistent data or quotes, it's probably legit. One-of-a-kind exclusive takes? Be cautious. If no other credible source is reporting the same thing, ask yourself why. Check the date. Even accurate info can become misleading if it's out of date or missing important context. Pro tip: think like a detective. Reputable info tends to leave a clear trail, evidence, sources, and consistency across multiple platforms. If it feels like a mystery or a hot take with no receipts, it's worth digging deeper. Remember, being a critical reader means questioning, confirming, and verifying, not just trusting the first flashy thing that pops up in a search. Before you trust a source or quote it in your paper, ask, why does this exist? Is it trying to inform, persuade, entertain, or stir up emotions? Because the purpose of the writing shapes how the information is presented. Bias isn't always a deal breaker, but it is something you need to recognize. Let's be real. Most sources have some bias. That doesn't automatically make them useless. In fact, biased sources can still offer valuable insights if you're aware of the perspective they're coming from and use them intentionally. Awareness is everything. If a source is clearly opinionated, understand that it may emphasize certain facts and downplay others. If it's trying to sell you something, an idea, a product, or a political stance, be extra alert for emotionally charged language or selective evidence. If it's designed to provoke, think all caps, exclamation points, or doomsday language, you're likely looking at clickbait or propaganda, not thoughtful reporting. Know the type of writing you're reading. Is it news reporting, a personal blog, a peer-reviewed journal, an opinion editorial, a corporate press release? Knowing the genre helps you avoid taking things out of context or mistaking opinion for fact. Pro tip: you don't have to avoid biased sources altogether, but you do have to handle them responsibly. Use them to illustrate a viewpoint, not to build your entire argument. And whenever possible, balance them with more neutral or contrasting perspectives. Not all sources are created equal, and in today's world of information overload and AI-generated everything, choosing the right type of source really matters. Primary sources are the real deal: original documents, raw data, interviews, surveys, artifacts. They haven't been filtered, spun, or summarized. In an AI-driven world, primary sources are gold because they connect you directly to the original event, voice, or evidence. No middleman, no distortion. Secondary sources interpret or analyze those primary sources. Think textbooks, articles, or documentaries. They're useful, but remember, you're getting someone else's take. Tertiary sources, like encyclopedias and Wikipedia, are great for getting the big picture, but not where your research should end. Use them as a launchpad, not a landing zone. And then there's the crown jewel: peer-reviewed sources. These are written by experts, reviewed by other experts, and built on a foundation of research, evidence, and accountability. When you cite a peer-reviewed journal, you're standing on solid ground. So remember, in a world full of noise, go for clarity. Trust the sources that bring you closer to the truth, not just the ones that talk the loudest. Let's get one thing straight. Just because something is online doesn't mean it's trustworthy. The internet is like the Wild West, a vast, untamed landscape where reliable information shares space with conspiracy theories, shady ads, and articles written by who knows who. You've got to be your own sheriff. Start by looking at the URL. .edu equals educational institution, usually solid and scholarly. .gov equals government site data. Heavy and fact-based. .org equals nonprofit. Sometimes reliable, but check for agendas. .com/.net/.co equals commercial or open to anyone. Be cautious. Some are fine, others are fluff, or flat out fake. Don't stop at the homepage. Look for an About page. Who's behind this site? Are they experts or just someone with a keyboard and opinions? Trace quotes or statistics back to the original source. If they're citing studies but never say where the study came from, red flag. Watch out for sites that scream at you with flashing ads, pop-ups, or breaking news in 72-point font. If it looks like a slot machine in Vegas, it's probably more entertainment than education. Pro tip: misinformation, mistakes, and disinformation, deliberate lies, thrive in chaotic spaces. That's why digital literacy is your superpower. The more you question, verify, and cross check, the better equipped you are to separate fact from fiction. The internet may be a frontier, but you don't have to wander it blindly. Gear up with curiosity, skepticism, and a healthy dose of fact checking, and you'll be just fine. Let's be honest, even data wearing a suit and tie can be shady. Sure, a chart might come from a government agency, a think tank, or a major news outlet, but that doesn't automatically mean it's neutral or trustworthy. Numbers can be twisted, language can be selective, and yes, political agendas can shape how data is presented. Be a critical reader, not a passive consumer. Ask yourself, who created this data and why? Who benefits if this information is accepted as truth? What's missing from the story? Data can be manipulated through selective reporting, focusing only on numbers that support one view. Misleading visuals, think distorted graphs or missing labels, out of context stats, quoting a study without explaining how it was done. Always check. Methods. How was the data collected? Is the sample size big enough? Is the source transparent about how they got their info? Context. What was happening when this data was gathered? Are there other factors influencing the numbers? Consistency. Do other credible sources back it up, or are you seeing a one-off narrative? Pro tip: don't let the word official lull you into trust. Good research requires curiosity, skepticism, and follow-through. If the numbers don't feel right, or if they're being used to push a single perspective, it's okay and smart to question them. Google gives you what's popular. Databases give you what's credible. Use both, but know the difference. Google Scholar is better than regular Google, but not perfect. Not everything is peer-reviewed or free. Pair it with your library's database for a well-rounded research toolbox. Want academic street cred? Then clean up your source game, use the library, cross-check your citations, and don't be afraid to ask your professor or librarian. They're like research GPS. Use them. Your voice matters. Your ideas carry weight, so support them with sources that earn their place in your work. Don't let weak or unreliable information dilute strong, thoughtful analysis. Be bold in what you argue. Be precise in what you use. Think critically. Ask questions. Make every source count. Because real research isn't just about finding answers. It's about knowing which ones are worth trusting.